Okay. Okay, everyone. Okay, hold a second. Let's make sure this is being recorded. Hello, everyone. My name's Rich Procida. I'm going to do a tarot reading here on who's going to win the election. I'll see if I can come up with some other questions. And so it's going to be who wins the election? Is it going to be Harris or Trump? And I may do a little commentary. I have my biases. I want to ask that only the spirits with my best interest at heart come through and give us guidance and give us the information we request. I've meditated. I do future, past, future, present, future spreads. And the thing with Harris now is that she's giving us new life and new hope to the Democratic Party, that this old senile man won't be the option for the dictator, megalomaniac, and traitor, to let people vote for a traitor and someone who opposes the Constitution, does not support democracy, is friends with Putin and Kim Jong Un, thinks they're great, who tried to overthrow our country, has no respect for our traditions. He's not conservative. He's a Putin ally. Putin is his mentor. We cannot put a criminal in charge of our government. I'd rather have a senile man, than have a criminal in office, because a criminal will commit crimes. A senile man can be guided. But now we have an intelligent, young woman who has been a district attorney of the state of California, who has just had a rapid rise from all the way up to the vice presidency within just a few number of years. And she can win again. She's won before. She can win again. She can defeat Trump in a debate. That's for sure. And that's what we need. And my hope is that we will see her prevail in this election, and America will be saved from the devastation of a autocratic government coming into power. So what I do is shuffle the cards, and I just cut the cards, and then we ask the question. And why don't we just start with a simple question and see what answer we get? Okay. Who will win the election? Now, that's a real hard one, because we're going to have to ask it a broad question, but let's start there. We have to ask, individually, will Trump win or will Harris win? To get clarification, we'll find out. Um, with these cards in my new deck, I have I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. This is the reason, and my reason to live stream it, but for some reason I don't think the live stream is showing the two pin cameras here. But I will have a version with my hands and the cards as they come out. Okay, so let's go. I just cut the cards. Cut the cards again. Well, spirit should be able to give us the cards. My theory is that it's like Schrodinger's cat. You don't know, the card could be any card until it's flipped over and observed. And so that's my theory. So here, let's take a look. It looks like the past, we have justice. present, Knight of Wands, reversed, the Chariot, reversed. All right. It's a big card, the Chariot. That's a major arcana card. Justice is also a major arcana. So, there's a Justice card. Take a look at that. Um, I'm not sure exactly what it means. So what I'm going to do is go to Biddy Tarot and see if I can find out what that card actually means. So, is obviously there's justice in the background that obviously she was a lawyer and and but there really isn't there's I think sometimes it just doesn't mean the past event, it means the background. And this is a question about justice and and having a president that, that's what the question's about. Now, let's see. Obviously, you know my bias, so let's take a look and see what Biddy Terrell says about justice. Justice, fairness, truth, cause and effect, law. Well, I know that Trump violated the law, that we have to have a respect for the rule of law, that that's something that I think Harris will bring us is some respect for the rule of law, for fairness, for truth. In other words, the election was fair, the election was just. There was no stealing of that election. There was a just determination on that, on the Biden's winning the election. Everything was fair. There was no injustice. The only injustice was Trump trying to overthrow the election. But that's how I would read it. Would read this. But we got to read them in combination with the other cards. What we have here is the Knight of Wands reversed. So if we take a look at this card here, you see we have a man, and what does he look like? Is he a knight on a horse with a wand in his hands? This is the Knight of Wands, and but it's reversed, which means we just didn't have one. But wow, I don't know who the Knight of Wands would be. I don't think it would be Biden, but it could be Trump. That things may have reversed, but we'll see. Let me take a let's take a look at what that card means in Biddy Tarot. I use Biddy Tarot. I'm learning the cards myself, but I want to do this tarot reading. The reason I'm doing it live, the reason I'm doing it by video is that I want to document that I'm doing it and determine whether the cards are actually telling us the truth or not, and whether I'm right or wrong. Now, I could be interpreting the cards wrong, but I don't think so. Well, no, I could be, but so it's good. We'll have to make that determination later. But the Knight of Wands reverse means passion, project, haste, scattered energy, delays, frustration. Yeah, that might describe the situation, right? Um, there certainly was a delay in making this decision, and frustration with with the whole fact of just waiting for Biden to lose. The Democratic Party couldn't sit back. It was going to affect the down ballot races. So now, obviously, there could be related to passion. See he'll if Harris has the passion to lead, to generate the energy we need to defeat Trump. Well, let's take a look at the last card, and this is not really this is the Chariot reverse, so this is a major arcana card. So I can't say that that's a necessarily. It's hard. We ask this general question, so that's why it's hard to make a determination. So it says self-discipline, opposition, lack of direction. Let's take a look at the Chariot card here for you so you can see the Chariot card there. So there's the two lions down at the bottom there. Two lions down at the bottom. There. You can't really see it very well. And but it's reversed. Which and sometimes you read these cards intuitively. And what I might see from this card, from this reading intuitively, I could hope is that justice background, that the background of this question is, will there be justice? Will we have, you know, and the background is that there's nothing unjust in the past that happened, nothing unfair. The election was fair, nothing unfair. Um, Now, in the present, I would hope that the this means that the Knight of Wands, who must represent Trump, has been the reversed. That there's a reversal here of fortunes, perhaps, and that the Chariot reversed could symbolize that the end of the threat, the end of the mega movement. But it's not a clear reading to me, and I'm gonna actually ask again because I'm not sure if I did that right. Let's start with Trump. Will Trump win the election? Okay. Well, so we got in the past position the Four of Cups. I think we looked that up already. But it seems to me that the past means that as the Four of Cups, this is fortunate. And he's got the fish in the cup. He was very fortunate in his past, in his background. Now, this is the second card, is the Magician card, but reversed. The Magician card and reversed, though, which means he's lost his magic. He's lost his magic. Right? And then the other card is the Hermit reversed. Now, I mean, the Hermit standing upright would be isolation, but the Hermit reversed means might even be more. If I look at the meanings on the cards, actually, if we go back and look up the Hermit here. Isolate, reversed, isolation, loneliness, withdrawal. Isolation, loneliness, withdrawal. Upright says soul searching, introspection, being alone, inner guidance. But reversed, it's isolation, loneliness, and withdrawal. The guy can't stand losing. The guy can't stand not being the center of attention. Something would really have to happen to make him withdraw entirely. But it looks like the cards are saying no to Trump winning the election. So let's go. Will Harris win the election? And let's see what it says here. Will Harris win the election? All right. So let's see. Oh, okay. Okay. Looks good. Huh. Huh. All right. That's an interesting card. So we have for the past, this is the Seven of Swords reversed. And upright, it usually means that there's been deception, deception, upright. But this is reversed. So it may be this person, Harris, is not there. She has nothing to hide. She's not deceptive. She's not like Trump. She's not lying. She doesn't have to lie. She knows how to make an argument. She can tell the truth. She's not deceptive. She's not a manipulative liar. She's not a habitual liar like Trump is. She's straight up, straight up. She hasn't been around long enough to need to lie. She deals with people well. She has a great personality. So, but what I want to do is I want to take a look at what that card actually means. And it's the Seven of Swords reversed, because the actual meaning could possibly be, I say the actual meaning, but the traditional meaning of the card. So, imposter syndrome, self-deceit, keeping secrets. So, well, what happened here? I got some wax on this card. Um, so having here that, you know, that could be a background card too, because she's not really that experienced. She's been out there um just winning election, getting winning, and just she's on a roll. At least we got somebody who's on a roll, you know. So um yeah, right. But if I read it intuitively, um, let me just take a look at that again. Yeah, because it is self-deceit, keeping secrets, imposter syndrome. Well, but the good card, which relates to Kamala Harris, is the current, the Queen of Swords. And this is Kamala Harris, the Queen of Swords. She can discern, she's intelligent, she's a leader, she um she she can make decisions. So we're gonna take a look and see the Queen of Swords, what it actually says here. Um, independent, unbiased judgment, clear boundaries, direct communication. And I think Kamala Harris, I'm hoping, can communicate directly with the electorate and make a clear case for why she and not Trump should be elected president. Now, the last card, the future card, is the Ace of Swords reversed. This is the Ace of Swords upright. It's the Ace of Swords reversed. Usually I see this card as a sex card, um, but and it's interesting that they're all swords. We got to recognize that they're all swords. Inner clarity, rethinking an idea, clouded judgment. Well, that doesn't help me with the future card because doesn't give me an answer when it's reversed like that. Upright, it's breakthroughs, new ideas, mental clarity, success. So, but downward, it doesn't look like it would, um, if upwards is success, downward would be, I really don't know what that would mean, but I don't think it would be, sometimes it may, when I think of that this is sex and reversed, um, could be that this means that it's not a man, but why not put the queen of swords in the future spot if you're going to say she's going to win? So, um, so the reading's not clear at this point. Who's going to win the election? So, I need to ask some more clarifying questions here to try and get to an answer about who's going to win the election, Harris or Trump. Is it possible that another candidate could come out and be the one to, because right now she's the queen, but the future seems to look, yeah, let's see, what should we ask? Would a third candidate win the election? Let's see if somebody else is going to come out of this. I don't see how that could be, really. I don't see how Harris can be unseated at this point, and we don't have the time for that. So, a lot of interesting cards. We got this card reversed. This is the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords reversed there. And yeah. So upside down it looks like let's take a look here. Inner turmoil, deep-seated fears, secrets, releasing worry. All right. So that's sort of the background. A lot of fear going into this election. A lot of fear. The rights of fear, the radical, sexual agenda of the left. And the left fears the fascist authoritarian movement on the right. A lot of turmoil, deep-seated fears. It's interesting. We have a major arcana card in the current position, which is the star. Here, let me show you the star. Star card. Yeah. Okay. So but it's reversed, which means the star has fallen. I would interpret this intuitively, this card reversed to be that our fears, our worries, our concerns is the background here to Biden was being, you know, going to lose the election. There's a lot of fear, a lot of problems with that, and but now at the current time, the star has fallen, which means Trump is um, fallen. His star has come to an end. That's how I would interpret it. But let's see what the traditional meaning of the cards are. Star card. See, this educates me on these meanings as well. So here, the star. Okay, we've reversed lack of faith, despair, self-trust, disconnection. Now, here we have strength in the final card, which shows a picture of a woman opening the jaws of a lion, right? Opening the jaws of a lion. So I would interpret that as a good card for Kamala Harris, that she's going to prevail. So, or we asked the question was the third, or I can't, and there might be somebody with a lot of strength in that candidacy there. I want to give another try. I want to give another try. I don't know what to ask. I want to ask the same question over again. You know, who will win the election? And let's just leave it at that. We've gone through a possible another candidate, a stronger candidate, and let's take the balance of this. I don't know what the only thing that the reverse sword could mean is that it's a woman, not a man, because I usually look at these swords sometimes, see it as a phallic symbol, and then it's reversed, it's a non-phallic symbol, right? It's not a phallic symbol anymore, they just cut the cards. So that would indicate a woman. So let's just go through and do this last reading. Who will win the election? Okay. Sometimes it's not set. I mean, spirit, so it's not like everything is set in motion, that everything has to happen the way it happens. Spirit can only give us an indication of the probabilities and the most probable outcome. It can't give us the actual outcome if the outcome is not yet determined. And you think, well, the election is determined. How can we discern the future if we have to wait till things are determined? Well, it's that spirit has more information than they know what they can put all the information